Welcome to Hope Natural Health, the podcast inspiring you to be your best version. Join me, your host, Dr. Erin, naturopathic doctor, dog mom, cancer survivor, and girl boss weekly as we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Welcome back to the Hope Natural Health podcast, where I try to get you healthy the right way. Last week, we talked all about menorrhagia or heavy menstrual flow. So if you missed this episode, go back and take a listen. And this week, I'm very excited to have a special guest here, Bo Bissett, who is a healing guide at Amo Ni. And he's in charge of exposing the self-awareness necessary to find the healer inside you so you can make lasting life changes. So today we're going to learn all about this practice of Amo Ni, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. So welcome, Bo.
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate it. That was a very nice intro.
Good. I know we were chatting just a couple of minutes before we started recording that I know as little as probably everyone else listening about Amo Ni. So when you pitched me to be on the show, I was like, ooh, this sounds good. So before we dive into what that is, I would love to hear a little bit about you and your background and really how you got into this practice.
Yeah, no worries. They say, to heal others, or to help heal others, you have to learn how to heal yourself first, right? So I know by, listening to you and also going over your website, you live that practice as well, firsthand right now.
Right.
So, that's what put me in this boat. From a young age, I was really angry, and I had a lot of self-worth and confidence issues. At 19, I got in a car wreck where I had a near-death experience. I broke pretty much every bone in my body. I was in intensive care for weeks, in the hospital for months, wheelchair, crutches. I got a staph infection.
Oh, wow.
Then 2 years later, I did the same thing. I did it all over again. This time I got hit by a car, skateboarding, almost lost my right leg. And then after school, graduated, I got a job, but then same thing. I just ran away. I ran away from home, or from family, friends, romantic partners, I left the country. And and I had a decent job. I was making, at the time I left, I was making six figures, and just walked away from that all and just started bouncing around the world, drinking myself stupid. And I think then the first accident that I got in, my grandfather, my dead grandfather, I saw him, while I was, I guess, out. And he's told me to go back. It wasn't my time yet. And for most of my adult life, I regretted that decision. I didn't feel comfortable here. I didn't feel comfortable in what I was doing. I didn't like being in my body. I tried to drown. My perfect ending would have been to go to bed at night drunk and not wake up the next morning. And I think it was in my late 30s. I think it was about 38, and I started experiencing some health issues because of almost 25 years of just heavy drinking. And that's when I realized, all right, this is the ending. Whenever it does come, it's going to be a lot more painful, and it's going to take a lot longer than I expected. So either I get my stuff in order, or is that really the path I want to go down? And so that was a turning point. Plus at that point, I was visiting. I was at home with my aunt and uncle, and my aunt was going through breast cancer. And so seeing her go through that was like, all right, I've got other people to live for, So,
right.
If she can do it, I can do this. And so we just, we pulled each other up and support each other. And So that was the beginning of my journey, and just like books after book after book, I just consumed and did courses and did everything I could get my hands on, but just nothing. I always had the mindset that like I could do whatever I wanted, like I could accomplish the things that I wanted, but I was always running into the demons of my own thoughts and beliefs, the underlying thoughts and beliefs, right? They would just hold me back. It was just like, it was almost like this glass ceiling above my head. And like, it was put there. I was the one that put it there. And yeah, so that was really, that's my backstory. Amo Ni came about, almost like 6 or 7 years after that. It's within the last couple of years where everything started clicking. Discovered muscle testing, and then using kinesiology, like the meridian chart that they use, dialing in the emotions that are attached to chakras, and getting in touch using muscle testing. For me, muscle testing was the most profound, self muscle testing was the most profound thing that I've ever experienced, because that put me in touch with my body. And I always felt like I was very self-aware, having gone through, all the trauma and the accidents that I had been through. I thought, I knew my body, but nothing could have been further from the truth. But muscle testing really opened up the communication that I now have between me and my body, and just like, wow. And yeah, that was the tool that really resonated with me and helped me to clear all the junk that was holding me back and was keeping me believing that I was a bad person and that I didn't deserve to be wealthy or deserve to be romantically fulfilled, or any of the things that I had bankrupted myself with over the years.
Wow, what an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that all. So what exactly is Amo Ni? I know on your website you explain what it means, but can you tell us, like, if someone were just to, in layman's terms, like, I'm brand new to this, so how would you explain what it is, and how do you use this to help people?
Yeah, I use muscle testing to go in and we find the emotional attachments that the individual has that are limiting their beliefs. I use muscle testing to find the emotions. We use a meridian chart to basically tag the emotions, find out what they are, and to put them on a map. And then we use connection through the meridian chart. We'll find out where the emotion's located. And then there are specific release points on the body that we use. But then also with the individual, once we're testing these and when we find these emotions, we connect with that emotion where the client feels that emotion in their own body. And then the Amo breath is something that is another part that we came up with to help move the emotions. Amo in Spanish means I love. And so basically, Amo breath is a breath of love. And we use, we use visualization with the breath. It's a 3-part breath, A-M-O, Amo. So with the A, imagine light coming down from above into the crown of the head, down through the throat, and into the chest, into the heart area. With the M, we use that part of the breath to vibrate the and pull the energy from wherever we've connected with it, wherever we found it in the chart, and then wherever the client is connected with it in their body as well. And with the O, we move that collected energy out of the heart center and out of the body. Imagine it releasing and moving on. When I first started doing this work, the emotional release, once you connect with them, once you find the emotions and once you find the and we release them with a breath. Whether it's shame or guilt or anger or sadness, like these emotions, once we connect with them, they move, and when that happens, you feel them again.
Mm-hmm.
And the Amo breath really takes the sting out of that reanimation, I guess you say, of the emotions. And helps. So the end goal of this process, or any process that we go through, where we're healing on an emotional and also psychological level, is the goal is self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So, the reason why so many of us are stuck is because of the programs that we're running that we've installed from childhood, mm-hmm. right, through traumatic instances. I mean, it could have been something as dramatic as the accident that I got into, mm-hmm. or the several accidents. I mean, those are definitely traumatic incidences. But the thing that people don't realize is, like, a traumatic instance can be as what some people would view insignificant as, mm-hmm. like a child throwing a temper tantrum over not getting something they wanted, right. Or, seeing their parents have an argument, or it can be so small. And like I said, people think these incidences are insignificant, but they are not. Mm-hmm. And so we embody the emotions that not only that we feel, but that others feel as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, that others they feel and that they give off. Like, we pick up, if you've ever been in a room where somebody's in an argument, like, you feel that energy. Mm-hmm. And we pick up and we embody that as kids, and then we use that program that we've installed based on that traumatic event to dictate how we lead our life. And that's the sad part, is that there's a child in all of us that is running programs 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, telling us how we feel about money, how we feel about mm-hmm. Men or women, or how we feel about relationships in general, or butterflies, or everything in the world around us.
Yep. Yeah, so it's the inner child.
This process. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Anyway, once we move those emotions, connect with them, then the light bulbs start going off. It's just it happens at rapid lightning speed, and then you just start having flashes of, like, oh my God, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing to limit myself physically. This is what I've been doing to limit myself romantically. This is what I'm doing to limit myself socially. And, like, boom, it's one thing for somebody to tell you, hey, you're doing this, but it's another thing for you to have that voice in your head say, you are doing this. Mm-hmm. Or I am doing this. And it's just like, wow. Once that happens and those light bulbs start going off, once you snag that awareness from the subconscious, and it then becomes conscious awareness, then is when that is your defining moment.
Right.
Because once you steal that awareness from the subconscious, you now have a choice. You can continue doing the thing that you were unaware of, or you can consciously make a decision to move forward in a new direction, on a new path, and finally make the change that you've been wanting to make.
That's amazing. I know, because we had a little bit of it in medical school, so I am familiar with muscle testing, but can you break down exactly, in layman's terms, exactly what muscle testing is?
Yeah, basically, I use muscle testing. I use my my index finger and thumb of my left hand as, like, my control hand, and then I use my pinky and thumb in the other of the other hand, and I interlink them, right? Mm-hmm. And a yes answer, the muscles stay strong, and with a no answer, then the muscles go weak. Mm-hmm. And so we use that yes or no questioning to find out. We find out what the emotions are. We find out what ages that the emotions came under. We find out where it's located in the body. Is it on the emotional plane? Is it on the energetic plane? Is it on the physical plane? We just dive deep and find these emotions using that communication tool. And yeah, it's like I said, it's really amazing.
So do you ask, so what is a client comes to you, they sign up for a session. So can you walk us through, briefly, like what a session looks like?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the first emotions that we look for, or that we start going after in the first chakra. So we'd start off in the first chakra. One of the heavy ones is shame. All right. So then I would muscle test, what are the emotions attached to shame? And then if it's a yes, then what was the first age that we anchored emotions to shame? Okay. Then we go through and we say what was the emotions that we had anchored to shame, and we go through the meridian charts, the fire, earth, metal, water, wood. Then we go through the emotions that we find located in the meridian where we find that emotion. Then we tag it. Then we use the release point that corresponds with that emotion. Then we use the Amo breath. And then we use some neuro-linguistic programming to put them further on the path of intention.
Okay. So
further on down the road.
Do people need more than one session, or can they clear everything in one, or does it just depend?
No, definitely not. So what I've done is, I've got a 9-week course. So, and it's very, very, very extensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
We do like chakra clears with kind of like a one-off session. That's just to kind of clear
Gotcha.
I guess the best way to say it would be, clear the chakras, but also like metaphorically, kind of like clearing the spider webs, clearing like the surface junk. But what we do with these programs is like get really, really deep. And there's, it can be a very emotional process.
Yeah, it sounds like it's.
And with this program, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it sounds very emotional. It sounds like therapy on like steroids, like super intense. Therapy.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, when I first started going through this stuff, it was, I cried for months. And it was just a huge release process. And that stuff that I'd bottled up emotions for decades, right? And that's the thing is, like most of us are taught to do that, right? It's like, as men, we're taught to, be a man or blah blah blah. But women go through the same thing, right? It's toughen up or sex doesn't matter. It's just we're all taught to, bottle up or push things down or just ignore things. And by doing that, we just push things down even further, and just ignoring the problems and just creates more of problems.
Right. So I know people don't want to face their inner child, or even really know about their inner child, or, possibly, like you said, a small thing that happened when they were so young up to, a traumatic for you, like your accidents. For me, it was, I've done therapy and work with, having that cancer diagnosis. So how would someone know? I mean, and I probably know the answer because I think probably everyone needs this, but a lot of people are afraid to really face these fears and these emotions because it's tough to work through it, but yet it's so healing and it's such an amazing release and can literally help all aspects of your life. So how do you really coach and inspire people to even pursue this, because it seems daunting. It seems like a lot of work, and it seems very emotional, and it is. But and that can can defer people from actually, you know, making an appointment or purchasing your course or, you know, seeking therapy in the first place. So how do you inspire people to really, you know, dive into this and just, you know, try it?
You know, like, honestly, like, I can't.
Right,
I cannot
that's true.
inspire somebody to do that. Yeah, I mean, I would love to, you know, I would love to be able to, you know, work with everybody.
Right.
Because everybody's got these demons. And I mean, literally, like, I would love to see these, I would love to see this kind of work be, you know, just widespread. And like everybody, like mothers be able to do it with their children and stuff like that. But, you know, the healing journey begins when you're ready for it to begin, right?
Yep.
So
it's kind of like,
it's just not something.
And you're absolutely right. It's kind of like addiction, you know, or any of that. You can't really know that you're ready to quit or face, you know, sobriety until you're absolutely ready. Like someone can be like, you need to quit or you need to stop, but until you're actually ready. And it sounds like that happened to you, where you were like, whoa, okay, this is enough. I've had enough. I need to seek, you know, therapy or help for this so that I can, or I'm going to die type situation. But yeah, that's so true. I was just thinking of, I think you said it, you nailed it on the head. Like everyone has something that they can work through. So I think that's important to remember, that you're like, oh, this doesn't pertain to me. I guarantee there's something that happened in your past that you're still holding on to. And remember, your subconscious brain is what we're operating on 95% of the time. So even if you don't realize it, some of these, you know, past things are triggering you in something that you're doing, you know, in your daily life, or something that someone else is doing. And I see this clinically in practice, like almost every single day, you know, when I talk about anxiety and moods and triggers and things like this, I'm like, it's probably something that you're not even aware of. And, you know, have you ever thought about therapy or coaching on trying to resolve some of this past trauma that you might not even know you had? It's fascinating, but you have, you're 100% right. So I think that leads to one of my questions is like, how do we start seeing ourselves for who we are? Because we are our worst critics, our worst enemies. We're constantly talking ourselves down. So how do we start seeing ourselves for who we are?
Before I answer that question, there's one other thing that I wanted to point out, what you were just discussing, and like, you know, it's talking about, you know, people being kind of the overview of, you know, the frustration that people feel. As they're, you know, if whatever they're going through, whatever thing that they're going through in life, you know, they think, they're frustrated with not being able to, you know, achieve something, or not being able to do this or that, or start this or stop that. And I found that frustration that we feel is for me, I was so frustrated all my life, because there was this huge divide between what I knew consciously, what I knew I was capable of, but what I was not getting done. And I realized I'm going through this work, that the frustration can be your best friend when you realize that frustration is, when you feel that frustration, you know that it's exactly what I just said. Your conscious self battling your subconscious self. So when you find that frustration, you know, wow, okay, I've got an issue here that needs to be cleaned up.
Yep. And it's the same thing with like fear. It's like, if you're scared of something, that means you probably should do it. It's leading you in the right direction. So it's always listen to your emotions, or trust, you know, and the same thing with like trust your gut, you know, goes along those same lines. Awesome. So yeah, how do we start seeing ourselves?
The other, for who we are.
Yeah.
To me, it's that self-awareness, you know, being self-aware and getting to that point involves, a lot of dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
To truly look in yourself in the mirror and see the things that your subconscious is holding from you. Yeah, that requires awareness,
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness. And it can be done, awareness can be done through basket weaving or meditation or Amo Ni or Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, this work resonated with me, that, other work resonates with other people. The thing that I loved about the muscle testing and this work that I've developed is that it's not like with meditation, you sit down in a chair and you're just shutting down your mind and you're hoping, for that clarity and that quietness so you can, so those light bulb moments do go off. With this work, it's like search and destroy. Like you're going in and you're like, it's almost like a surgeon going in with a, scalpel and knife and just really like, he knows what he's going after. He knows, or they know what they're going after, and they know, and they're just going after it. And that's what this work is. It's like, go in, you find it, and you get rid of it.
Right. Oh, I love that. So valuable. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about Amo Ni as we're wrapping this up? And then I have one last question for you.
No, I think that's the thing.
No, I'm super excited. I totally learned a lot about what this practice is, and it sounds amazing. And I love your journey and appreciate you sharing that. But one last question that I ask all my guests: what would be your best or favorite health tip that you can share with the audience?
My favorite health tip. This is gonna sound, it might sound weird, a little obscure, but be selfish.
I like that.
Too many, because the thing is, like, my father died a few years ago, like around the age of 70. And, he always put others first, and he didn't take care of himself. And, my dad's not here because he didn't put himself first, And And so I think going down this healing journey, you have to put yourself first. You have to say, look, I deserve, the best from life, and I deserve, to uncover my true potential. And to do that, you've got to be selfish.
Yep.
And it's the whole thing with, like, when you get on an airplane and the flight attendant tells you, when the mask comes down, put your mask on first, right?
Right.
So you cannot take care of others. You can't take care of your family until you take care of yourself first.
So true.
That would be my help.
I love that. No one said that yet, but I 100% agree. And that was something that I had to get over too, is I never thought that I was a selfish person, but it's 100% okay to be selfish and put yourself first. And I learned that through my journey.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. And I see it clinically every day. And moms are notorious for this because they're so they're so busy putting, everybody else in front of them, their kids, their husband, their family. And then, they're usually in the toilet, and that's when, they come see me for their hormones and stuff. So moms are, I think everyone to some degree.
And women in general, you guys are really you are like superheroes. You really are. The stuff that I think the recent thing that we've gone through with COVID has shown to the world that women deserve more power than they've been given. You look at, like, the countries that have come out the strongest. Mm-hmm. One in which I live in, Taiwan, has a female president. Mm-hmm. And there's several other countries around the world that have female leaders, and they've done, as far as fighting the virus and taking care of their taking care of their people. The women have done from what I've witnessed, the best job. So.
That's right. We're going to start taking over the world here.
Please do.
Oh, Bo, it was so wonderful to have you on the show. I really appreciate you spending the time here today. And all of Bo's information will be in the show notes. He has free books on his website, amoniclear.com. And again, that will be linked in the show notes. And once again, I appreciate you for being here, and we'll see you all again next week.